The CS2 Armory is kinda cooked, because right now every dollar you spend on Armory passes is essentially just being lit on fire. While you're spending dozens of hours grinding for stars, millions of bots are flooding the market and tanking the value of your skins before you even have a chance to pull them. It's a really bad problem. The latest collections, the Spy Tech and the Erebus collections, were pretty much just dead on arrival, unless you were lucky enough to pull a Minware or factory new red. The Armory was supposed to be a win for the players, but it's turned into a downward spiral for the economy. Hey, what's up guys, it's Turbo, and today we're going to talk about why the Armory is failing and what Valve can actually do to fix it. When the Armory first dropped, the hype was real. It felt like an Operation Light. Not quite a full operation, but you buy a pass, play the game, earn stars, pick your rewards. I mean, whether it was charms, stickers, or those limited time items, the potential was huge. I mean, for a regular player, it seemed perfect. It was a fresh new way to pick up some new play skins in a way that's like randomized, kind of like a case. Pull a red on day one and you get generational wealth. All right, maybe not that much, but you could make hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. But thanks to that though, everyone started stockpiling stars thinking they were about to get rich, myself included. But reality hit hard. What looked like a gold mine was actually a trap. And the reason why? Well, a big part of it is clankers. And yeah, we'll get into the bot crisis right after a quick word from our sponsor, Skins Monkey. Got a Steam inventory full of trash tier skins you never use? This video is sponsored by Skins Monkey, the fastest and easiest way to turn your junk into some fresh new play skins. Connect your Steam account, select the skins you want to trade. You can also use code TURBO to claim up to a $5 bonus. They have a massive selection of skins and plenty of options to deposit. Code TURBO gets you an extra 5%. There's also freebies where you can enter giveaways and 24/7 live support if you run into any issues. Check out my Skins Monkey link down below to support the channel. So Counter-Strike has always dealt with bots, but the Armory changed the stakes. Also, with AI getting more advanced, bot farms have become, like, not fully autonomous, but mostly autonomous. Before the Armory, these farms were just grinding for weekly drops in deathmatch and arms race. And if we turn back the clock a little bit, back in the day, you could actually play on community servers and just AFK for drops. And there were a lot of people who actually did that. And it slowly evolved over time into the AI monstrosity we have right now. I mean, before the Armory, though, the farms were just grinding for weekly drops in deathmatch or arms race. You know, obviously it was kind of profitable, but the stakes were relatively low, so there wasn't really much incentive for them to spin up more bot farms. But then the Armory gave them a direct path to more profit. Because, you know, these farms control literally thousands of accounts. They can just buy passes in bulk, automate the grind, and flood the market with skins. When a bot farm pulls an M4A1S Fade, they aren't just getting lucky, they're just doing it at a scale that a regular person can't compete with. I mean, they can effectively spam so many stars that they can guarantee all the best skins in all the best conditions. I mean, from an average player's perspective though, like the system seems great on the surface. I mean, you just play the game. Obviously, well, you do have to buy the passes, but you can get that with your drops. But you play, you get skins. But behind the scenes, the supply is exploding faster than the demand can keep up with because of this bot-driven oversupply. You know, the grind that should make the Armory skins valuable is being completely bypassed. You know, we're putting in the work, but the bots are the ones setting the price, and they're pretty much setting it to zero. So it's just like a never-ending cycle that just keeps getting worse. Us as like actual players, we're the ones who have to pay for it. We're the ones who have to suffer and basically lose money. Okay, Valve is doing what they can, like they're trying to ban bots retroactively, but that approach just hasn't really worked out. Now, if they were a little bit more proactive, if VacLive worked in a way where it could detect the bots automatically and deal with them, then this problem wouldn't be nearly as bad as it is right now. But then you get into kind of conspiracy territory where if Valve starts like mass banning all these bots before they can even make any profit, I mean, they're just going to shut down their operations. They're going to stop buying new accounts. And ultimately, I mean, if less people buy Prime, Valve's not going to make as much money. Now, obviously, that's just all speculation, but what if that's actually the case? But that kind of brings us to Chapter 3, Market Stagnation. It's not just the bots, though, it's how Valve is managing the Armory. Now, if we take a look back at operations, they were special because they were temporary, only lasted 3 to 4 months, and they only came around like at the peak maybe once a year after like the first set of operations. You know, they were very scarce and just unpredictable. But the high-end skins like the Op Gun Gear stayed profitable because the supply was capped by time. There was only one operation where you could get the Op Gun Gear, and it never returned. And then they tried doing it a few more times. They kind of overbought the skins, plus to be fair, like the Op Fade and like the AK X-Ray weren't even remotely close to the gun gear in terms of looks. So, you know, even to this day, they're not even really that valuable. Now, the problem with the Armory is the skins are staying in the shop for way too long, and it's led to a total stagnation. I mean, right now, you can hold onto stars from 2 years ago and dump them whenever you want. And when you combine millions of players with millions of bots all hoarding stars, you get a never-ending dump of items. And we saw this in real time with the Erebus and Spy Tech skins. I mean, usually there's a pretty massive price spike when the new skins hit the market. It's the only time where it's realistic to guarantee profit. But this time, the spike was barely a bump, and the market is just drowning. This leads us to skinflation. Too much supply, not enough demand. There's no profit to be made. In the grand scheme of things, like there's a lot of bots doing it. There's millions, and fewer real actual players buy the passes. And because the prices are so low, this is going to lead to less people buying Armory passes. The really scary thing to think about is because so many people got burned on the Armory skins, overall less people are going to buy the Armory passes, but the bot farms are going to keep buying them. So they're going to own more of the supply so they can control more of the prices. I mean, this is pretty much like worst case scenario. It creates a dangerous cycle. Regular players leave, meaning bot farms own an even larger share of the total skins in circulation. And if the main incentive for the Armory is gone, the whole system becomes a ghost town of automated accounts trading worthless pixels back and forth. I mean, sure, some of the play skins might be really nice, but if the bots own the entire supply, and it becomes a lot easier for the bot farms to manipulate prices, just making them ridiculously overpriced. So how does Valve actually save the CS2 economy? When you break it down though, it's pretty cut and dry. Step 1, weaponize VAC live. Now, I don't know if Valve has been doing this secretly behind the scenes, and if so, then awesome, but Valve needs to train their detection specifically for deathmatch and arms race botting. And also, I guess, double down on the actual cheaters too. I mean, just any kind of like cheating or bot behavior should be heavily penalized, way more than right now. With the bots though, the accounts move and play in a very specific, predictable way. And obviously, you know, Valve doesn't want to ban innocent players who didn't really do anything. Give like a short warning ban first, just to like halt the activity temporarily. Maybe a month where they can't earn or spend stars, possibly even like revoke their drops. And if the behavior continues, permanently ban them. Cut off the supply at the source. Valve actually needs to start going after more of these bots in a more proactive way that prevents the markets from being flooded first before they, after the fact, ban the bots. They're in such large numbers that you kind of have to deal with the problem as it happens instead of like after the fact, because they're genuinely hurting like actual players' bottom lines. People spend money on the passes expecting a little bit of profit after the grind, and if that profit is just nowhere to be seen, there's no incentive for people to buy the passes. Therefore, Valve makes less money overall. And then step 2, seasonal rework. The Armory needs seasons. Every year or so, the skin should be swapped out entirely. And I think your stars shouldn't carry over to the next season, because this prevents hoarding and ensures that every new drop has a fresh start without years of backlog stars ready to flood the market on day one. This keeps it fair for everybody. Now sure, can this lead to an unhealthy amount of gaming? Absolutely, but I think it's a lot better than what we have right now where you're just throwing away money for nothing. Well, for very little. Like in terms of actual value, sure, if you love the skins, then it's an absolute W either way, but you know, most Counter-Strike players, a big part of why we love skins is because of the value associated, the investment aspect, being able to go from rags to riches. Now sure, it's slow and takes a lot of work, and it's not for everyone, but that's kind of what made CS skins just so amazing in the first place. And then step 3, kill the predictability. Remove items from the Armory sooner without a massive last call warning, except for maybe when everything is getting discontinued and people need to like spend the rest of their stars, then they can do that, but definitely not at the beginning of the Armory season. If players and botters don't know exactly when the supply will cut off, they can't manipulate the exit nearly as easily. The Armory is a great idea on paper, but without these changes, it's just a slow leak in the CS2 economy, and over time, the problem is only going to continue to get worse. But if you've been burned by the Armory like I have, let me know your story in the comments. Anyways, it's Turbo, and I'm out. Peace!